We see just going down here, you see debris, and they're doing a good job of cleaning up. Around here, I can tell you, there was a lot of damage in Anna Maria, and so I see the progress, and there's a lot that needs to be done. But you have a lot of people that had feet of water in their homes. They're having to throw away furniture, they're having to gut the drywall, they're having to do all these things, and that's going to require them to be able to have the resources they need and the supplies they need to be able to rehab their homes, to be able to purchase additional furniture or whatever it is that helps get them back on their feet. And this is something that even in a normal circumstance, you can have challenges when you have this many properties that have been affected by a storm of this magnitude, of making sure you get all of that. And that's under normal circumstances. Now we have this situation where you have these ports are being shut down across the East Coast and the Gulf Coast of the United States. This has the potential of really disrupting the hurricane recovery and of hurting the people who were victims of the storm. And I don't think it's right to try to cripple the recovery that our storm victims are undergoing. We want to accelerate the recovery and do all we can to make that happen. What is going on in this work stoppage will negatively impact the distribution of cargo, and that will include perishable foods, medical equipment, home goods, electronics, machinery, apparel, vehicles, vehicle parts, lumber, steel, as well as other essential construction and hurricane supplies. At Port Everglades in Southeast Florida, about 41% of businesses at 2 of the 5 terminals will be impacted. At Port Miami, strike will affect about 50% of the port's cargo capacity at 3 of its container terminals. And at Jacksport, about 1/3 of the commerce, particularly international container volumes and international vehicle volumes, will be impacted. This could lead, and indeed, if it goes on longer, will lead to significant supply chain disruptions. This will cause delays in the delivery of critical goods, and it will result in inventory shortages. Economic forecasts show that for every 36 hours this continues is equal to 1 week of supply chain disruptions. Do we have time for weeks of disruptions, given all that's happened in communities in Florida and throughout the Southeast? I don't think so. I think we need to get the stuff here as soon as possible so that people can get back on their feet. So as Floridians work hard to recover from Hurricane Helene, we have thousands of houses that are requiring substantial repairs or complete rebuilds. We know that these downstream harms to our residents are not acceptable. Our residents need reliable, steady supply of resources and building materials to keep their families fed and rebuild their homes and businesses. And so we have a responsibility in the state of Florida to do everything we can to avoid, mitigate, or minimize these disruptions that will have a negative impact on the people of Florida. So there are ships that have nothing to do with this, these negotiations. They may need a place to be able to come. And we just want to send the message, you can come to the state of Florida. You have Port Manatee can accept some of these ships. In fact, there's a ship that's got a bunch of steel that would be used for things that we need that may end up being rerouted. So Florida is open. We want to use our resources to be able to get all this stuff to the market so that people are able to use what they do. We have 16 different deep water seaports. We will work with you to get critical commodities to shore and promptly plugged into the supply chain. At my direction, the Florida National Guard and Florida State Guard will be deployed to critical ports affected to maintain order and, if possible, resume operations, which would otherwise be shut down during this interruption. Florida Department of Transportation is coordinating calls with seaport rail and trucking partners to ensure that all are prepared and positioned appropriately to limit disruptions to the supply chain and other areas should this continue. I'm also directing Florida Department of Transportation to temporarily waive the collection of tolls and other fees for commercial vehicles using public highways in Florida and waiving the size and weight restrictions normally governing vehicle transportation for the duration of this emergency. This will help expedite the movement of goods that have been impacted from seaports to intermodal logistics centers, distribution centers, and delivery points, and very well may help offset additional costs incurred by operation during this period.